morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League 2022-23 is what we're into with round two, race number 4. We're out on the Sprinters Playground for 3 laps. It's going to be coming at these athletes fast and furious all day today. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Towle is next to me as usual to call all of the action for you today. Dave, we are covering the EMEA Northeast Open Division A1 for the men with quite the lineup. I mean, we're talking Rose Beast Mode, BL13, the Dutch Racing Team, Foudre, Team WLC, which I just got to mention before we get out onto course across all of the Zwift Racing League and all the Zwift community on behalf of WLC. They are changing their name today to the name Mandy. There's a tragic loss of life of one of our community members. Dave, you want to just speak to that just for a moment too, alongside with me, as we just take a moment of condolences and a shout out to that team.
Yeah, boy, this is something that when you talk about it, Nathan, we call these athletes gladiators of the road, and there's certain things about the courage it takes to be a cyclist, and that goes across the board to everybody out there that rides on these roads. And unfortunately, we lost Mandy in a situation where a collision, and the impact will be huge. A lot of heavy hearts today. She had a real vibrancy about her that spread amongst that Wahoo Lacole team. So always remembering that, be safe out there. And when we lose one of our own, it has a huge impact. So with that being said, I know she loved racing with you guys. So to see her, it's probably going to make me cry. But I mean, look, when you think about it, this sport's really special. We've got a great community here. So when you see everybody racing for Mandy today, they're doing it with heavy hearts. And Nathan, I know the impact's been big with you as well. Unfortunately, these are the risks that go along with riding outside. So at least today we can safely race inside with Zwift.
100%. Thanks a lot for that, Dave, and a shout out to all of the WLC team as well as the rest of the Zwift community, because I do know from the message that I've seen as well as the description that Mandy was a big part of the community and raced on a consistent basis week in and week out with WLC. So if you do see Mandy in the names out there at all today, that is what's going on with that. So let's jump right down into some of the racing, though, as we do have a couple of replays that are going to be coming at you. The men are absolutely flying out there today, as
Boy,
they're already 4.3 kilometers in, 5 minutes of racing that is down. Dave, 37 kilometers total, and a lot of different power-ups out here. Sprinters Playground, Dave, this is going to be nonstop mayhem, I believe.
Yeah, boy, it's a Sprinters Playground doesn't sound like much fun to me. This is rough. You're deep into it, so you're going to see average speed will be close to 50 kilometers per hour out here today. They're attacking now, so we're going to go right into the sprinting. We've got a few riders that can make more than 15 watts per kilo for these short bursts, these power sprints that we've got. Here we go, Nathan, right into the first one, and that launch goes, and that certainly looks like is it BL13? It is.
Yep, Thomas Berry making a move. Wondering if I'm just going to be able to hang on to this one. Still a couple meters to the line. Maybe nipped at the line by his own teammate, actually. It's going to be Eldine, and it looks like Capitaine. That's the third sprint on the day. I do have 2 others to give you in some replays here in just a moment as well. The first sprint and the second one. We'll see if we can start getting some preems opening up for all of you as well as they head through the Sprinters Playground. Dave, this lap already, it looks like, is starting to cause some mayhem at the back of the pack. Are riders, my question coming into this race, and I'm thinking about my race as well tonight, is how to play this race out today, because the number of sprints and how quickly that they are coming left, right, and center over and over and over again, it's going to make it difficult for a breakaway not to start, not to form, because of how many times the riders have to go into the red, and Simon Betts seems to be thinking exactly that right now.
Well, and so that's an excellent point. And strategically, you've just got to keep making these splits. This is brutal. It really is. And Betts is going to make a big mark here early. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here. It's 3 laps out on this course. But Nathan, you can only go that deep so many times. So clearly, there's going to be a lot of decision making back in that group and I think we're going to start seeing riders playing their cards a little closer to the vest as well here as well. Going back now, Rose Beast Mode brought a strong squad out here today. Watching for excuse me, Cosimo Tash is a rider on this team that I've been interested in. Nathan, you can see the action coming fast and furious out here.
Yeah, and I am seeing it. Looks like I was a little confused at first. I wasn't sure if Meyer had riders on his wheel, but it looks like Beast Mode, they are going to try and send some riders up the course here with 2 riders. Now, if Bet and Meyer can get together and they allow this to actually go, now they have brought it back to 1 second, 46 kilometers per hour versus 45 kilometers per hour. So it does look like this is going to get shut down pretty quickly, perhaps. But now, as you do see here, 3.7 on the front. If there's nothing left in the tank, this may be able to survive, but it's really touch and go right now when it comes to the separation here. The next up sprint is going to be quite a ways away here at this point, I believe. There's going to be, as you said, 3 per lap. So it's not going to be until the start of the next lap here. And they may calm it right down in the pack, but they need to start getting some distance here. I'm not sure Meyer's going to be able to make it across as Betts just continues on.
Yeah, this is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the longest interval that we have between sprints, right? So it's a tough time, although definitely double check that for me, Nathan. But I do believe now that this might not be the sector that you want to roll the dice here. Look at that peloton now as they regroup behind here, ready to make another absolute surge. So, yeah, with 3 laps out on this course, this is the kicker that you see. The gradient there goes up. It's never really that steep, but you could use this as a launch pad, Nathan.
Yeah, you could. And it does look like a few riders are looking to use that as a launch pad to go across and get involved in a breakaway situation here. As we got Bas Potter from the Dutch team as well as Team SZ getting involved with Werner. So they're going to look to try and join Simon up ahead here on this section of course. And it looks like, there is one more sprint point here coming up. It might be 4 per lap. Excuse me, 4 per lap. Is that right?
Oh, is
Because
it?
I do
Okay.
think I believe looking here. Yep. And here we're going to come on through here. So that's why this attack is on here. Werner, Betts,
Aha. So,
Potter
yeah.
now off the front, and it's 7 seconds back to the pack. I think they got this one. Dave, how many times have we seen this specific sprint over and over again? We've seen a breakaway with speed on the downhill stay away from the pack action. I think this is going to happen right now.
I think that's Zwiftcraft, Nathan, to tell you the truth. That insider knowledge, well, maybe it's not so insider at this point now, but well played by these riders here. This is the thing about, so big difference between Friday's Zwift Grand Prix and what we're doing here on Tuesdays with ZRL and WTRL coming together to create racing for over 20,000 folks will be participating on any given Tuesday. And Nathan, here we go. So the points and the structure of the racing is completely different out here. It's 37K total, but really this is like a points race. A lot of elements of that here with the constant sprinting and fastest through segments. We're into the 4th race of this 22-23 season now. So we're starting to settle what the pecking order is. And this is one of the top teams, BL13 and Griffiths, that we're with now in another rugged moment out here. No rest for the weary, Nathan.
No, there isn't. And as you can see, all coming back together as it was a move by Betts to try and stay away, but it did get caught very quickly there. And the rider from SZ, it looked like, was able to take down those points. Now it's all back together. And the separation, though, at the back here, Dave, these speeds are so incredibly high. If anybody starts pressing the pace now, that group behind is going to really struggle to stay on. And this is an interesting rider to see off the back. At 6.2 watts per kilogram, getting back involved here. Karlik there, the Dutch rider, this is one who's got a major kick. And if they're able to get rid of him, that would be a big boost for the rest of the teams because I think he's a danger man when it comes to these sprint points.
Yeah, Jacek Karlik, Nathan, you're 100% correct, is one of, I think, only 4 riders that make over 15 watts per kilo, 15.2. is what he's put up on the board. So he's a powerhouse, a wattage cottage, as they would say. So that is Karlik that we're talking about right now on the mighty, mighty Dutch racing team. They've represented themselves quite well. Just van den Bosch on this squad as well. So that's the all Dutch team. Rose Beast Mode, the all German team. Most of the other teams are mixed in nationalities out here. I saw some teams World Cup today, Nathan, England and Wales playing. Some teams combining both of those flags. That's a common mix, actually. The Welsh and English riders coming together on a team, like the team today, riding for Mandy, Wahoo Lacole. I just saw Matt Brook looking quite spry out there. Another rider about to chase his way back in. Small group hoping to catch a bit of a lull right now, Nathan. You can see, what is that, 6 riders maybe still within striking distance of possibly rejoining, but the next time they sprint, there's going to be another major, major burst out of this group, and they are locked and loaded right now.
Yeah, it looks like the Socks for Watts rider here. At least I think that's a Socks for Watts. I may be incorrect there. Actually, no, it's going to be a Foudre. Excuse me.
Poudre.
Yeah, Foudre here. It looks very similar as far as the color goes. I'm loving this. This is a new kit.
That's nice.
Look at it. It's got
It's a
some
great
lightning bolts for
look.
eyes coming on through here. I mean, this is just Watts flying out of the cloud's eyes. I mean, that's quite the artistic expression here of what kind of Watt
Ooh la
bombs.
la.
The Watt bombs
Yeah.
out of the cloud's eyes. There, Dave. That's a whole new take on cycling.
It's a statement jersey for sure. I've always loved Foudre. Cool team. That's going to be a real tough moment right now, folks, when you look at riders sitting here just this 10, 15, 20 meters off the back of a peloton. But the action is at the front now. It's like watching the popcorn starting to pop. You know that the show's going to begin any moment. Now, here's another star actually getting back in for BL13. That's going to be Barry. He does rejoin, and just in the nick of time, Nathan. So his team all over the front right now, or near the front, I should say, as we pick up the action here, heading out on lap number 2. So the points will be coming fast and furious out here. Again, Sprinters Playground, racing in memory of Mandy Hagman today. And it certainly is going to be a battle royale, Nathan. This is the EMEAE NE, so the Northeast Open Division 1A men that we're in with, out on lap number 2 now.
And we do see some
Not quite.
visibility power ups being used. No, not quite. They're going to be there pretty quickly here. But now again, it's going to be Rose Beast Mode now on the attack. Tosh here going over the top. It's going to be Meyer, the teammate. They're trying to get double numbers off the front, it looks like, over and over again. Beast Mode really want more than one. It looks like Zwan now making a move, and that's going to be from the Dutch team trying to get involved. And this is a good spot to go, Dave, because the draft does lower through the arcade. And because of that, a lot of times there's a little bit of struggle from the rest of the pack. And either what you'll see is separation like this and the rest of the pack sit up, or the pack starts ramping it up to try and find a wheel to make sure they don't get dropped. You can see a huge amount of time now being gained through the arcade. They're actually out to 5 seconds already from not a whole lot of effort having to be put down. 6 watts per kilogram. Zwan now, Meyer.
Technical question, Nathan. It said the Essies, when you go through there, is there any similarity as far as trying to get
ups and downs there? It's actually, so in my opinion, Dave, it's easier to hold on through the Essies for sure. It would be more like going through a gravel section or some sort of section where the drafting is reduced, that you don't get as much advantage from the draft. The Essies, all you got to do is really punch a little bit, and then you can coast on the downhill. Punch a little bit and coast on the downhill. And if you can really time your coasting or your drafting well, you can get a lot actually out of the Essies for. But through that section, you really have to match the wattage a lot more through the arcade than you usually have to. So that, I think, is where you can find that kind of advantage. And it does. I mean, I would really like to see the dynamics through there. As far as how they function, because that is a gigantic gap that really showed on display right there in a way I haven't necessarily seen that much before. How much time you can actually gain through the arcade if the pack does sit up and you just push a pretty high pace. I mean, they came in at about 7 watts per kilogram and then backed off to 6, 5, 6, then 7 at times. But that's still not orange numbers all the way through. And they got the kind of gap that almost you would expect to see full on sprint to be able to hold on to.
I mean, if you look at it, Nathan, they're still really on the gas up there. They're just not ballistic, right? But I mean, you're seeing the pulls are coming through at around 7 watts per kilo here. It's starting to open up.
Look at the
now,
heart
though,
rate, Dave.
as Tosh, yeah, wow, holy cow, huh? So, so this is
207 beats per
interesting
minute,
right now.
208 beats per minute. This is one of the highest heart rates I've ever seen in the men's field.
Fastest through segment at play here? Probably not. This is more a bid for points, isn't it? So we should talk quickly about the way you pick up points out here. There's first across the line, and that's standard points. But there's also fastest through segment, which typically comes from back in that group. Riders surfing their way through the group. This is all about picking up the first across the line points, Nathan, and back behind them. It
Oh,
could be
they
about,
almost got nipped.
look at that.
They almost got nipped there, Dave. It was so close for that first across the line. Really paid off for Meyer. But the question is, Dave, will he even be involved in a race after that? Look at how fast they're coming by. But yes, that was most likely a lot of times in these races. The second time through is usually when the fastest through segment does get scored. And those guys did grab the first across the line. But there's a lot of FTS on their line, isn't there today, Dave?
Yeah, well, and Nathan, there's a good reason why. If you think about it, just logically, that second time through, everybody's warmed up. The race dynamic should be at play. Exactly like that. You had everything, the carrot dangling out in front of that group as they're going full gas. So it'll be interesting to see how that all sorts out. It's always really different than what you see on Fridays with the racing out here. It's really tough with so we're saying 4 sprints per lap. So basically, you're looking at in the neighborhood of 12, 13 monster efforts out here. And that doesn't include the second tier efforts that you have to make closing down gaps, like exactly what we're seeing now. Rose Beast Mode has been very, very active out here today, along with BL13. And let's see what we've got coming now. Is Nathan, they're not even through the middle part of this race. They're out on lap number 2 of 3, but really just getting going right now. And it's been spicy all day.
Yeah, it's been nonstop. Actually, these riders are really taking the race to the rest of the field over and over again. It's gonna be weird now on the attack through the second sprint point for this second lap out here. He does go on the attack to see if he can get away. It's not going to be happening as Ferner jumps right onto his wheel. They're going to be going into the little boardwalk section here, kind of an uphill sprint as they cross the bridge. It does look like they have enough of a gap to most likely hold off the main pack. I do think that they have the distance here as they head uphill. Here comes Karlik, though, but I don't think Jasic's going to be able to make it happen. It's going to be right to the line, and Weir's going to hold off Ferner just barely. Looks like Verro now, from the TPC team, followed up by Karlik, I believe, the fourth place across the line for those points. Are they going to back off? Because eventually these gaps are going to start opening up ahead as people are not going to be able to respond any longer to some of these sprints. It's going to be all about a perfect timing of a slingshot, I think, Dave, for some sort of a breakaway. Diminished peloton, I think, may be happening out here if there are enough motivated riders that have that on the plans for their tactic sheet on the day. You definitely need a tactic sheet with every single one of the sprints that are coming at you with how many there are today.
Yeah, and you got to be judicious with your efforts as well, because it really will be a war of attrition out here. Not everyone is going to make it into the final few sprints here today. And you wonder how much role playing, as far as riders who will go for sprints earlier, knowing they won't be around later, may or may not come into play out here. Things stabilizing a little bit out here right now. Viort is another rider, the Punchers Club TPC. Nathan, if I remember correctly, Viort is one of the riders who makes the most power in these sprints. I expect him to become a major player here in the second half of this race. I want to make sure I have that right as I was taking a look at the Punchers Club TPC team. And Hugo, Nathan, 15.2 watts per kilo. So that's no joke.
Definitely one to be watching out for. Then that 15 watts per kilogram or more is usually the strongest of the strong. We do have another attempt, it looks like a moment ago, to go off the front. But Brooke now just going to be controlling things here. That's going to be WLC. Now lots of power-ups being thrown down. It is going to be coming through the sprint section. And look at how everybody's using their power-ups right now, Dave. It's full on. Karlik now to the front here with 1,000 watts. It's going to be Arrow power-ups though behind him. Will he be able to hang on all the way to the line? I don't think so. It's going to be Brooke from WLC coming over the top. It looks like PL13 trying to also make the roll through here. This is the last 100 meters to the line. It looks like it is going to be BL13 though with the timing. Wow, that was impossible to call. There was too many wheels to the line. I mean, that came through. Yeah, that was insanity when it came to the number of avatars that were there. and Dave, the gaps are opening. It's too many preems. What happens? Are there any in real life races where they just throw preem after preem after preem that eventually just demolish the race? Have you seen that before, Dave? Just wondering.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, you definitely 100%, Nathan. You don't see it as much now, but back, there are a few years where the money got a little ridiculous, or well, not ridiculous if you're looking at it from the racer's perspective. They love it, but the dynamic of the racing was dramatically changed. And also, if the riders know that there's going to be a huge preem late in the race, some type of gambler's preem, that I mean, there's oh boy, I got to look at this, Nathan. It is blowing up right now. Holy cow. So you're absolutely right. With all of the bonus sprinting, here goes Michael Gamps, the Danish rider. It looks like a little more than 10 riders in the right end of this split. I think this gets closed down, Nathan, but holy cow, the racing has been dramatic out here. And that peloton is a lot smaller than it was. We've seen riders just getting their tickets punched all over the shop. It does come back together, but wow, loving it. And there goes BL13 on another attack. I think that's Michael Gamst again, Nathan.
Navamo
Or
actually
no,
coming from the P to Z team.
excuse
They
me.
have a very similar jersey, but you know who really loves this is BL13. They have the sprinters, but
For
they
sure.
also have a rider like Gamps. And Gamps, that's all he wants. He's always one of those breakaway specialists. He wants to get involved in there. He starts seeing 4 or 5 go off the front. He starts licking his chops, thinking that's exactly where I want to be, where I want to go. Be on the watch out for that. Dave, at this point, though, I'm looking at the pack. It's been whittled down, it looks like, to about 43 riders that have made this lead at this point. And we do have this separation that has taken place. At least, I think 12 riders have been spit out the back of this main pack now at this point. So it's being whittled down lap after lap at this point. Well, actually, no, excuse me. I think we're down to, I'm seeing on the numbers here over on Zwift Power something a little different than live in game here. So perhaps a little bit differently there as it's brought back together here. But there is, it looks like, about maybe even up to 15 riders that have been spit out the back of this pack. And I think that's not said and done yet. We still have a good lap and a half to go still before this race is over. And I would not be surprised if we end up with a very, like, either a breakaway or a very whittled down peloton by the end of this.
Yeah, this is being blown to bits right in front of our eyes. Watch out for Team Sweden here. I think they've got full representation still. Bjorklund is a rider who will weather all of these barrages and be there in the finale. No doubt that's Jakob Bjorklund I'm talking about. There's Sybrandy's come on strong. The Dutch rider here is, again, relentless, just again and again, more fire socks, and this time it's Nins attacking the Foudre rider going clear. This one's got to get your attention now. It's the alarm going off one more time here, deep into lap number 2. Another play for points coming up here, Nathan. Wow, I love seeing Foudre racing with this kind of aggression out here. The French team will not lie down for anyone, and Julien Nins is in fuego right now. I'm not sure how you say that in French.
Now you are seeing the situation, Dave. For some reason, through this section of course, we have seen over and over again the ability for these riders to be able to stay away if they go early. And Suin here now coming from the Punchers Club goes over the top with that arrow power up. And it is again, I think, going to survive these jumps over the top of that bump there, Dave, into this railway sprint. They, for some reason, are just successful. And he makes it happen. Good on him. Nin's going to hold on, Ferner and Sybrandy, and then here comes the rest of the pack. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was going to say, Nathan, they're going so deep with these attacks. It's not like this peloton. I mean, these guys are already gassed back in this group, right? So it's not like you're attacking out of a group that's lulling. You're attacking out of a group that's riding hard. So to get that kind of advantage, you have to go incredibly deep. That's a big commitment. And it's the story of the racing out here today. Nothing's been given. There's no gifts. Everything's been fought tooth and nail for. It's made incredible racing, and now you start to see some team tactics coming into play because that is a lot of BL13 up there.
There is so much BL13, actually. Are there 2 BL13 teams? There's got to be 2 BL13 teams. There has to be, because this is insanity, the number of yellow jerseys. Then you have P to Z on top of it. You don't even know who's who anymore.
Goodness gracious, exactly. Using that same yellow shoulder, right, Nathan? I think that's where it gets really tough, is that same exact yellow color. All right, taking a look at a peloton that's just been throwing body blow after body blow at each other. This is what these guys signed up for. This is ZRL at its very best right now. It's 37 kilometers total today, but I keep saying splinter. That's, I guess, what your legs will feel like when you're done. It's the sprinters playground that we're racing on. And these guys now deep into lap number 2 as we're in with Don, the German, on Rose Beast mode. Another team keeping the head of it. There goes Juan again. So Dutch Racing going to take it to him, Nathan.
Yeah, and I am being told, Dave, you can say il en fue. Il en fue? Il en fue?
Very good.
Il en fue.
Help with
He's on
my
fire.
français.
Debbie Woods Turner, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Debbie.
that. As she gave us a little bit of a translation there for he's on fire. D Don now covering the move there from Zwan from the Dutch racing team. It does look like things are going to calm down just a little bit in the pack. Zwan now trying to take advantage of that off the front there at about 6 watts per kilogram. This may be a little bit of a move. There is a lull. We did see this before the is it going to be, man, keeping track of these sprints. Let's go ahead and
It's crazy.
let's help ourselves out as well as everybody watching with the broadcast here, and go ahead and give what exactly it is we are looking at out here today for the Splinters Playground. There's the start. It's going to be 12.62 kilometers that they are taking on for each one of these laps. It's first the Tower Sprint, followed up by the Castle Sprint. We did just see the alley sprint, followed up by the railway sprint. Is that what's going to be over there? Yep, there's the railway sprint, and that's the final one before they head back on over toward the start of the lap. So it is a little bit of a lull, 12.6 kilometers, and so we should be coming in around that 25 kilometer mark, about 2 kilometers till the start of the next lap. That's the situation out here today. Tower, Castle, alley, followed up by the railway. So as you can see, things calmed down. Zwan was brought back into the fold, and now they're going to be heading back into the arcade. And with that, Gamps is on cue.
Yeah, arrow power up there, and advantage opened up right on cue. Let's watch how this goes. Now, actually, he's making a chase.
Zwan was ahead. Yeah, my mistake. Zwan was
there
ahead.
You go.
Yeah, he was off of the rider nearby list, actually, because he was around a corner, so we weren't seeing him actually in the riders nearby. But this is going to get some response, Dave, because of what we saw last lap, I think.
Yeah, and Zwan's not throwing in the towel either, so he's going to stay on the gas, hoping to pick up some points out here. As Nathan just illustrated for us, the points just come at a relentless rate. So let's see what we've got. This is going to be, again, well, Michael Gamps, there we go. The Danish rider is our leader. Gap has gone up significantly now. This is not right all the way to the finish line. This is the next preem opportunity, and it looks good for Gamps here. No surprise, really talented rider.
Yeah, Gamp 6.1 watts per kilogram. The question is, what can they gain through the arcade? Whether or not the pack is going to slow down, allow Gamps to go, and really be thinking about something else. Now, a lot of times the FTS points have been taken. And so because those FTS points have been taken, it's going to be very difficult at this point to get any more fastest through segments through the rest of the race. And because of that, I think FAL points, their value goes up as you get into the later points of the race, because you can't really get anything but FAL anymore, because trying to get the fastest through segment as the legs get more tired and the pack isn't traveling as fast for those sprints becomes much more difficult. So I have a feeling that the value level of these FAL points is going to go way, way up, and we're going to start seeing chases like we weren't before.
Well, I think that's a really good way to put it, Nathan. And so in complete agreement with that, there needs to be somewhat of a complicit understanding amongst the group that if you're going for those fastest through segment points, you need other people to be doing it as well. And also, it's nice if people are willing to use their power-ups in concert. Is a good way to put it. Back to the action here, 25K into. So they've got only 12K of racing, but a bunch of sprints ahead of us. And here you go. As Bjorklund now right on cue. Sweden now making their big play. Watch out.
This is interesting, Dave. They still have 2 seconds, and at the front of the pack, it looks like Weir is doing a slowdown. He goes right to the front, goes to 1 watt per kilogram for BL13. to try and allow the distance to go. He does not want too much speed on the front at this point so that his teammate does go and grab those FIL points. Virot, it looks like here, is completely committed, and Zwan is yelling. They're saying you guys don't want to work. They're saying make
much
a
like
move
American crit
here.
racing.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, not that different, is it? Like that is effectively what we'd call air quotes blocking, right? Getting in the front and then just disrupting the chase. It's exactly the same techniques as Gamst is gone. At this point, he's in another postal code.
Yeah, it's right around the corner here too, Dave. The sprint, there it is. You can see.
Yeah, this is done deal.
Can he hold on? Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, 5-4. It's coming down very quickly, though, Dave. Look at the speeds.
Yeah. I think he's got enough of a buffer here, Nathan, but this is a great example of how quickly they'll close things down. Michael Gamps now trying to hold on. You can see a couple riders getting very, very close. We are going to go right to photo finish here.
He got it. Oh, man, it was so close there. I love it when the riders make it so incredibly close.
Not a lot of margin for error, is there?
They're still fighting for FAL behind here, Dave. Here's the thing. If 10 riders get off the front, the rest of the race is over. I mean, they can still go for some FTS in the lower levels of the FTS, but you let 10 riders go, and there's all your FAL points up the road, and you're fighting for finish line points at that point.
And Nathan, as you said, the good ship FTS has sailed long ago. You can see it. You know what I mean? I would think that trying to play those cards is a big waste of your time. It's all about the first across the line points, standard sprint points, which scores 10 deep typically. Here's one of the monster sprinters, Fjord of the Punchers Club, one of the many French riders really stepping up here in this season 2 of 22-23. And you can see it is chaos. Pure with a K, chaos all over the place now. Back through this group, Nathan, is a chase. You said it, 10 riders come together willing to work, representing the right teams, and that might be that as we're getting deep into it now. This is a good look at the Splinters playground here. You can see that 69 meters of climbing throughout.
It's the Splinters playground too, Dave. It's definitely splintering things out here today. That is one of the best slips I've heard, because I have a feeling it's not an accident there, because it is absolutely the Splinters playground. It probably feels like splinters as well in the legs at this point, as we see
if you're lucky.
Again, Hamlet, give it a go. And this is going to be going for the Castle Park. Castle Park now move here. Here we go. It's going to be for that 3 kilometer marker that we're looking at here with the Ghost off the front and visibility here. And they know he's there though, Dave. Navinow's still keeping it on the gas.
Yeah, I mean, he used the only option he had, and I love the effort. That Ghost had a lot of watts at any rate, as this is going to be Hamlet, again, riding in honor of Mandy today, one of the English riders here. Good luck, everybody, in that England-Wales battle today, but Hamlet's going to take this one. It looks like for England, he's got a ways to go. But, Nathan, I like the courage that we're seeing here from the Wahoo Lacole team riding for Mandy today.
Look at the speed Barry comes through. Like, that shot there, Dave, was so good with how fast that pack was just railing down the barrel there of that sprint point.
Rook up there.
Over the top now, Dave. Is this another, again, danger moment after danger moment, but there's just enough power and enough motivation in this pack to just keep things within striking distance, not let anything quite get away.
Just enough, though. Just enough, Nathan. And there go another Ghost, as we see. I think that's Matt Brook, and it is Matt Brook. So Wahoo Lacole would have picked up a lot of points in that the last time that we scored there a few moments ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that all sorts out. This has been fascinating to see the amount of aggression out here. Again, that's what these riders signed up for. The Gladiators of Zwift really having a throwdown out here today as we're getting down. I mean, it's only been 35 minutes of racing, Nathan, but this has got to feel like over an hour of effort. I think they count it as that for sure. All right. So looks like Dutch Racing back on the front again, if I'm getting that white jersey correct, but the swarm, the churn is a good way to put it up here right now. Back to you, Nathan, as we're just 29K into a 37-kilometer race. Last lap underway.
Heading into the alley sprint, here we go, as it's going to be BL13 and P to Z now taking over at the top, at the front. Actually, BL13 now making a little bit of a move there here to take over, though. It's going to be weird. Now back to 1.0 watts, but Kilburn probably finding himself somewhere that he does not want to be. It's going to be a right-hand turn into the alley, and this is going to be the next setup. Here comes an invisibility power up over the front, over the top. They actually may not see him making that move as he gets a little bit of a sneak away. That's going to be Barry, actually, at 10 watts per kilogram. He's got the distance. I'm not sure that's going to hold. He's going to need an insane amount of wattage here. Weir is actually leading out the other BL13 team here right now. Interesting enough, that's the challenge here. And right to the line, it looks like he's going to do it. He got the jump.
Yeah.
I've never seen,
well
especially
played.
Through there. That section is usually never somewhere that you're able to hold on to.
That's a good look at the difference between P to Z and BL13 with the jerseys, but I think BL13 might have put 3 riders up in the top 6, Nathan, at the railway sprint. So check the box. What was that alley? Excuse me.
Yeah, alley sprint, correct. Alley sprint.
Alley sprint, railway to come. But Nathan, that was a good one for BL13.
Yeah, we saw probably 4 or 5 in the top spots there as they came through. Now it's going to be another look forward to the railway sprint. That's going to be the last one on the day, I believe, here for the riders before the finish line. Got a couple of K before we actually do hit that. This is such a great graphic for us out here today because it really gives us an idea of how things play out. We just saw Tower Sprint, Castle Park, Alley Sprint, Railway Sprint comes 2.5 K or so after that section, of course, almost 3K out. So we'll be looking forward to that. And then from the 8K marker to about 11 and a half or so on the lap, that is, but we're looking at 37K on the day. There is a breakaway off the front here. And is that going to be Gamps? I would not be surprised one bit if Michael Gamps made a move. Or is that going to be, it's either going to be BL13 or it is going to be P to Z. And we'll see if we can click around enough here to find those. Right, it is going to be Gamps with his teammate Weir trying to make a move to go here for that next FAL on the railway sprint.
And this is definitely all about FAO right now. Here we go. So they've really lit a rocket talking about that BL13 team as we're taking a look at Gamst. Then Weir, it's a win leading up the chase for the Punchers Club. And then Brooke is there for Wahoo Lacole today. Navamel keeping himself up in the mix. But this, look at how the dynamic of this racing. I mean, it's really every man for himself out here right now, as it looks like BL13 is going to try to take a big swipe at this one and grab a bunch of points if they can hold on. It's starting to look like at worst they're going to end up with 2 in the top 5. Most likely better than that here.
Quite a ways still till that next section. They're just entering the kind of cobbled, I don't know, what would you call these, cobbles, Dave? I mean, you call these not exactly cobbled. There's somewhat of a cobbled section, but it's these large brick, kind of like cobbles. But they this section is when you actually are on the type of road that enters the railway in just a moment here. And I think that's the first sign that you're heading into that actual section. See, they are actually on the uphill here. Now, this is going to be an opportunity for someone from the pack, like Betts, to jump across with this uphill gradient right now and try and get involved with these riders. They may close this down here because of the speeds over the top, Dave.
Yeah, and I'm going to look at it from the other direction in that's a weird, the group has got to be feeling it. Oh, boy, you're right, though. It looks like riders are going to come across, Nathan, so good call there. One of them is certainly going to be Betts. They'll run out of real estate, but not before this catch is made, that's for sure. So well-timed, good Zwift crap there from Simon Betts.
Is he going to go over the top of Weir here? Weir now 5.3 watts per kilogram. He is. He's going to catch and maybe go flying right by Seawan and Gamst. Wow. I mean, just carry the speed right through them if they're fading. Yes, he has to, because here comes the pack. Arrow power up onto the 2% negative gradient there. Perfect Zwift craft, but the pack is charging. They know that this is the final time for any FAL points. And then after this, it's nothing but finish line points here. So this is the final go. 10 points on the line for the team. And it looks like it is going to be beast mode perhaps. But here comes Mavier. It's still 150 or so, maybe even 200 meters to the line. Mavier from the Punchers Club coming on through 9 watts per kilogram, trying to come over the top. I think he may catch. It's going to be neck and neck. Betts, hold on. Look at the speeds here, Dave. It's so interesting how this section of course holds the speeds. Verner's going to come through, maybe. Oh, it was right to the line between him and Griffiths. I think Griffiths just nipped it. And Carluck with the over the top. Is that a... No, it's not a counter. It was a sprint for the line that was late, but it may be a counter, Dave. It could become a counter.
One. Yeah, making lemonade out of lemons there. I got to say that backfired on BL13, didn't it? So we've seen teams like Wahoo Lacole. They have a great sprint, then it doesn't go their way. Same thing for BL13. As boy, this one is wide open now. That's going to be, again, Carluck, the Dutch racing rider on the front. But there is a lot of horsepower lining things up now as we make our way into the finale here. Great day of racing, that's for sure. So many points to be distributed, whether it's fastest through segment points. Those must have gone earlier, that's for sure. Is now nothing but the finish line left for these riders.
Look at how they're playing this too. I mean, they will not let up. It's just nonstop,
Just aggressive.
over and over again. Aggression. They're pushing 6.7 watts per kilogram, continually to the front with 6 watts per kilogram, trying to split this group up. And the riders behind here, some of them just having to trust, having to find those wheels, and just sitting in. Is there a rider or two in here, Dave, that's allowing the rest of the team to do the work and saying, okay, close that down. We're going to get the finish. We're going to get the finish line sprint. We're going to win this right here, right now. We're not going to keep on trying to go with these moves. There might be one or two riders in here, Dave, that have workhorses of a team that have been bringing this back. They've been able to sit in and not put in those kinds of efforts, because we've seen non-stop on the gas up front there, Dave, with at least 20 of these riders so far.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. It certainly is likely that that's at play. It's going to come down to pure heart out here for this finale. And so many of the points have already been distributed. So it's not like you save everything for the finish here. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. So after such a tough 30, let's call it 35K of racing, this is going to be an interesting sprint. I mean, 45 minutes of slugging it out. You respond differently physiologically to a sprint like this.
Rider to be watching out for, and just going to double check this really quickly. I believe Boss Potter has been really low on the watts per kilogram so far, on the average watts per kilogram, and is in this front group still. You got to be in the front group still. But, there's some riders that have been in here waiting for their moment. Dutch Racing have a couple of them. From what I can see here, we're coming into the last K. We're within the last 2K at this point. LBRT here now to the front. BL13 now to the front with Minto. And a little bit of a break behind. There's the move. Gamps now gives it a go, because Gamps knows he doesn't have the kick. He does not have the kick to match them, so he's going to go off the front, Dave, and tell me what the tactic is here, knowing what's coming with the arcade.
Yeah, without any doubt, you force the other teams to chase. Your best sprinters can sit on that chase. Riders when you look at it on this team, Mark Elding is certainly one rider. Jacob Sparrow is another that'll be very, very happy. But of them all, how about the 18.2 watts per kilo that Ethan Tracy can make? I believe Tracy is in that group right now. And if that's the case, this is where he's going to get to work and take out that 20-pound sledgehammer. But Michael Gamst is either going to win this race or certainly set up his teammates for a better finale. Classic move here from the Danish rider. Bike Racing 101, Zwiftcraft, exceptional from Gamst.
Dutch Racing come across with Zwan. Now Zwan does not want to be involved in the pack sprint. It looks like he wants to get involved in this arcade move here. And now Beast Mode looking for the setup here. 6 watts per kilogram coming from them. Are they actually going to go across? No, it's just going to be work at the front for Beast Mode, trying to set up an actual sprint rather than a situation where there is a breakaway off the front. It's only 2 seconds. They back off though, Dave. If they back off right now, and this stays, now it looks like Hamlet knows. Hamlet knows. So does the rest of the pack here. There's quite a few going with these invisibility power-ups. They are going to make the catch most likely at this kind of wattage, Dave. And now comes Jarlik. Jarlik knows as well. Carluck here. Justin Carluck now coming across from Dutch Racing. And this is going to ramp up the pack, Dave, to a point that they are going to be able to respond to just about anything. It's going to be a diminished bunch sprint. Here we go. Brooke off the front. 9 watts per kilogram. Risky move. We're within the last 100 meters or so here. Hamlet's coming now. He might have done this, Dave, or at least this break. This is going to be a diminished sprint to the line. Brooke around the corner
triathlete
here.
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, even if he doesn't win, he's going to end up very, very well up in the top 5. That's a big surge from Karluk. I think this is going to take this one across the line. Look at this. Nathan Wahoo Nicole for Mandy has done a lot here in the finale, but is it enough?
Yeah, there's going to be Karlik there. We didn't have a finish line, Dave. They came across, and we didn't actually have a visual finish line today. But the Karlik made it
Not
happen.
a huge data day. We weren't really big on data today.
We didn't get the why there was no finish line. Come on.
Little bit of a bummer, right? But
Oh man. Well,
the
we'll have to
riders
go
saw
back.
one, just to be clear. The
Yeah,
riders
they
would have
did.
seen
The riders
one.
did.
Right.
The riders did have one, just so everybody knows. It was just on the viewers.
Nathan had to work
end.
some magic getting us into this
I
race for the
did.
broadcast.
Had to
and maybe
had to work a lot of
Yeah.
magic actually, just to make
Yeah.
sure that we could even be in the race. But as you can see here, what a move by Jacek. He followed Brooke, had 15 to give still. The Dutch racing rider comes up and over the top. Barry's now coming to 14 watts per kilogram, but Brooke unable to hold on. Is it a story here, though, of Brooke being caught? I mean, his avatar sits down, as you can see. We'll see if the camera gets it there. He may have held on, actually, Brooke, as he fades to 0 watts per kilogram. Right there's the line. Brooke was actually caught, it looks like, by a few of the other
Just
riders.
caught.
He might have been in the
Yeah.
top 5 or so. So right to the line there. Nice job there by Jacek to hold on. We can see some of the opening sprints too, actually. We'll go back to those as well, maybe we won't. As there we go. This is one of the opening sprints here from Barry off the front. Why don't you go ahead and help us out here for a second, Dave? Make a call while I find the results for us.
All right. So very early in the race. I mean, it was a story of sprinting throughout the day. Second sprint of the day for Thomas Berry here, the BL13 team. I don't think we actually broadcast this. This was just right before we went on air. So getting a chance to look and see. The line comes up very quickly now.
Yeah, being chased by Brooke was really involved as well as Karlik throughout the entirety of the
All
day, weren't they,
day.
Dave?
Yeah, all day long. A lot of these names, Swan as well, Navimel. So it looks like the riders who brought their A game had it from the start. And that was how we scored that early sprint. So many points. We didn't really have a chance to look at FTS or FAL and how that built up or where we were at with the league standings out here. But these are the top teams, certainly, that came to play out here today. And you can see how big the peloton is now and how dramatically smaller it was by the time we went into that last sprint today.
Take a quick look at the results and how they played out. It does look like we have something here for everybody. Just really quick, want to.
You can always go to WTRL.racing to review all of the results.
And there it is. Jacek Karlik coming on through. Dutch Racing Team 146.29. He does. Brooke held on, actually, Dave, as we did not have that finish line there to see on our side. But Wahoo Nicole riding under the team Mandy today, less than half a second back. Hugo, we were talking about him. He had big points out there as well. But this is the final cross-line finish line sprint. Very close between Julian Hers from Watt Fabric Watt Dragons and Thomas Berry at 1.22. Jacob Joiklin there, 1.49 back from the win for Team SZ. Euler, Paul Hamlet for Wahoo Nicole A7. It's going to be Mark Eldine for the BL13 Watt Bombs. Dutch Racing Team 1 for Just Bush is going to be in 9th place there. It's going to be Louis Nevenmel riding for PZ Masters. So, interesting, Dave. Only 2 riders from BL13. This is a very, this entire league here, it feels like, Dave, for this division, it feels very equalized, actually. I didn't take a look. You're right. We did not get a look at the standings as they are coming in. But I think I do have something here. This, Dave, is how things stood coming in. And, BL13 have been at the top, but it looks like Dutch Racing may have had a really good day out there today. We'll see if we can get an update on this. But as well as Wahoo Nicole.
Yeah, I hate to speculate not seeing the points, right? I mean, BL13, we talked about how Gamps was setting up his teammates, and if I remember correctly, a 4th and a 6th is not bad, especially when you look at how they collected quite a few points along the way, but I don't have any data on that, so it's a little hard to say.
Yeah, 100%. We could maybe get a refresh on this, but I'm not gonna do that because there probably are some riders still out on course, and we'll still be collecting some of those. We can give a quick little look here and see.
I think it's pretty likely that BL13 remains the top team after
100%.
today in 4 races. I don't think that they'll have given up the first spot. I don't know. Well, there you go. They
Looks
did
like
win.
they may have won. Yep.
Right.
Wow.
So
Big
that's
day
what
for
I
them out
thought.
there
But
today. Nice one. Nice call there, Dave. Good call there, Dave. We can take a look actually at some of the sprint points. We did get those to come through. And that's actually going to be what we're watching in just a minute here. As Aoni and Aces are at the top of that. But we did get the sprint points coming through there. There it is. Harlech with a good day for Dutch racing, but it's not enough as the team's consistency for BL13 was just too much to overcome.
yeah, and that's really the name of the game out here. It's not having one star rider, it's having the depth, and it's the second, third, and fourth riders really on your team that where this whole league is decided. There's no doubt.
100%. Well, that's going to be our coverage of what we've had for you today. It does look like BL13 take down another one. That's going to be for the men's race. We do have the women's race coming up pretty soon here. We will be on a break for a pretty good little chunk here. We are going to be live at 10 past the hour. So about what is that going to be? 18, 15-ish? Around a 15-minute break here, everybody. We'll keep the broadcast live while we get ready for the women's racing out here. It is going to be Zwift Racing League EMEA East Central Women's Division 1A. We've got teams Socks for Watts. Alexi Snover's out there with Gussie Paul, Natalie Lawrence. I mean, big names. Ruth Shire. Aeonian is showing up as well. Monali Keller, it looks like, signed up with Kristen Yax. Ariel Verharen. Some riders that are obviously out here racing in Worlds, and we're a part of our Continental Qualifiers. KISS Racing Team is out here as well as plenty of WLC riders all riding under the Team Mandy today. So big names, Dave. Some of the most exciting racing we've seen amongst the women's crowd for sure we're about to watch. I also know, Dave, a lot of people come in to watch the broadcast prior to racing their race. We still have America's East later today, as well as America's West. That riders might be saying, how is this going to play out? And Dave, this one I think was kind of known. Everybody knew this was going to be really, really difficult race out here, but how it would play out and whether or not the separations would happen, this gave people a good idea of how this course plays, perhaps.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I would expect the women will race very similar to what we just saw with the men. There, aggressive racing, war of attrition. The legs get heavier and heavier as you make your way deeper into these sprints, and certainly the team tactics come into play as well. So, absolutely, really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, so make sure don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly. We're gonna timer up here, and we will be back in just a little bit for our coverage of the women's West for EMEA in just about 15 or so minutes. See you soon.
Smack. 'cause they just want your words, 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 being who you want to be, who do you want to be? Being who you want to be, who do you want to be? Being who you want to be, who do you want to be? Being who you want to be, who do you want to be? Now it's their time. I'll never fall. Concentrate on the tightrope, the hope that you'll make it through to the other side. Being who you want to be, who do you want to be?
Well, and welcome back to the Zwift Racing League, broadcast here by Zwift Community Live, presented by WTRL 2022-23 season, round 2, race number 4, and we're back with the women's racing today on the Sprinters Playground that's been renamed the Splinters Playground by Dave Towle, who sits next to me, because it has been nothing but pain in the legs out here today for the riders. I have a feeling there was a really great Zwift Insider post actually about the difficulty of this race and what it will be. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to head on over to there. There's been some actually really great insights into what racing is like out in the Zwift Racing League, and a lot of fun being had with it. So Zwift Insider and some great recent articles. But Dave, what we just saw with the men's race, women about to kick off. It's four sprints per lap, 37K, and they come at you real fast. I mean, it's pretty much just sprinting nonstop all lap.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nathan, I wanted to just take a moment before we get going. In the previous broadcast, we had mentioned Mandy and the Wahoo Lacole team. I just saw Coralie Arthur put a post up on Instagram about exactly what I'm talking about here. They're all riding for Mandy. We lost Mandy in a tragic incident in Spain, and the impact has been huge. So everybody today, our thoughts are with Mandy and her loved ones and friends and teammates. So just wanted that to be known, and just didn't want to leave that sitting out there because it's a really very touching day for a lot of folks.
100%. We can jump right down into the broadcast and can see exactly that. Lizzie Brooke here alongside of
There you go.
some teammates with the name Mandy in for the WLC team out there today. So you will be able to see that. There's plenty of Team Mandy actually out here today. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty dominated as we do see Bowler and a few others. Not just a few others. Catherine Furr is out here. Coralie Arthur, I believe, is out here as well. And Lizzie Brooke. The list goes on and on. Actually, the entirety of the Zwift Power listing from I can see out here has changed their name. Lindsay Cassie, Louise Hart,
Oh, wow.
Lauren Langham,
Yeah.
Laura Payne, Laura Semnick, Katy Perry, Coralie Arthur, Anna Fairweather, Anastasia Bowler, Alina Barra. It's on and on. We could go on that front here as far as all the team members, but the whole point is they did lose a teammate in real life to an accident. We definitely want to give a shout out, not just a shout out, but condolences and a just really heartfelt that this is someone that's a part of this online community and how closely knit this community gets week in and week out that they're racing together, Dave, for sure.
Yeah, Mandy Hagman, you were loved. That's for sure. So, all right. That's some big names in this race as well. I saw Lindsay Cassie. What a star she's becoming. And Chiara Doni as well in the field, the Italian rider who's been taking part in the Zwift Academy. So, and maybe the best name, Nathan, that we've got in the ZRL right now, Helen Watts, riding for Aeonian. Helen, loving it.
Well,
Never been a
I'm gonna
better
have to.
time,
I'm
right?
gonna have to. I'm gonna have to disagree. The Cookie Monster
Uh-oh.
here. The Cookie Monster here is my new favorite by far. But the Cookie Monster's a
that
distraction at
Monolith
this point.
Keller?
It's got to be Monolith Keller. It's got to be Monolith
Yeah.
Keller. Ridgeway here. This is a distraction though. Wahoo Lacole at the front. The Cookie Monster is a complete distraction. It looks like Wahoo Lacole, I believe, took that down. I think that may have been Catherine Furr. It was Catherine Furr. And I'm just barely able to see. There's so many riders actually here to work our way through here. But Catherine Furr taking that one down, it looks like, for Wahoo Lacole. The first one's on through. We'll get an idea of where the league stands currently for these riders as they come on into this race. But looking at the profile real quickly, if you're just joining us, it's going to give you a good idea of what the riders are going to be taking on out here today. And it looks like this. They just went on through that tower sprint. Castle Park comes up real quickly, a little after that 3 kilometer mark. After the Castle Park sprint, that is on a little bit of a boardwalk. They take a little travel around the gardens of the Castle Park, and they head on downhill to the alley sprint. And then the railway sprint is the one part where there's a little punch of a climb out there. And that's actually one of the jokes for the D category. Do not like it, I hear, when we call that just a little kick. They're like, no, this is a full-on climb.
It's all in your perspective, right? So 3 laps out here today to make up 37K, but the points, that's the name of the game, no question, and fastest through segments, which usually happen in the first half of the race. We were anticipating in lap number 2 typically where you'd see that. So grouped together right now, but not all of these women will make it into the final sprint today. That's for sure, as they have really been, what we've seen so far out on this course, it's been extremely aggressive racing, and I expect nothing less from this group.
see who makes the first moves. But this is a little bit calmer heading into the castle sprint than we saw from the men's race. They're waiting for those last moments. We do see a move here off the front there from Wahoo Lacole. Catherine Furr perhaps on the move. No, it's going to be Lindsay Cassie actually making the first moves. But no, it's going to be Langham here. Over the top, it's going to be Wilson, though. Oh, Gilson, excuse me. Harry Gilson. 10 watts per kilogram, and she can be able to hold off. She does.
She does?
Toyota Priority T makes it happen. I saw Electric Spirit Co. with the creamsicles right on the heels. This is a jersey I'm not familiar with necessarily. This is going to be that new jersey of the Castelli team in game, liking this gray here, and that's Donnie coming through. I think she was a top 10 on in there. This is going to be interesting also, Dave, because those FAL points, they may not suggest what the FTS were. And we'll see if we get some segment updates on that for this race here. But that'll really be changing things up as far as, what you see for first across the line isn't always what you see for the points when it comes for those FTS. So another team we haven't talked a lot about so far, though, a lot of WLC and obviously with the Mandy situation happening here. But then we've got KRT, Dave. We've got SZ out here, Electric Spirit Company. We've got Roca Corba. We've got a lot of top talent, Dave. But I haven't seen Electric Spirit Co. maybe winning these out just yet. That's a big surprise to me, actually.
If you want to talk about the distribution of talent, this might be the best example that we've got. There are so many top teams. I mean, you've got your Sucks for Watts, Aeonians, Crush Pods. I Race Like a Girl is back with Amanda Wendorf, Lenny Ramsey, and Meredith Kessler on that squad. You mentioned KRT. Yeah, this is, if you want to talk about star power, this is the group without any doubt about it. Very tough to win with so many heavy hitters in the field. I mean, when you look at names like Alexi Snover to watch out for, you could just go on and on. As it's going to be raced much more traditionally as well than what we saw with the men. That was as straight up of a sprint as we saw earlier, Nathan. Now this is going to be coming into the alley sprint that we've got, and let's watch the fireworks ignite out here. Here we go, and it looks like Wahoo Lacole all over this one.
Yeah, and there's going to be Lizzie Brooke here to the front, taking things down. Nice kick right to the line. Just holds on. Aeonian coming through late, perhaps, but that may have been some faster through segment. So good points for Aeonian as well. They're going to be a little bit of a break as they come through their third sprint. It's got some Ks between now and the next sprint out on course. Maybe going to be able to see some pushes on toward the front here to break things apart. But Railway Sprint being the next one here, nobody really on the attack. Does look like they're going to save it up for the next sprint that will be coming up here. Nice little kick for Lizzie Brooke to take down the FAL, but I have a feeling Aeonian made the right moves there. Total Priority Team may be the ones that are going to make a move. This looks like a little bit of a push
really
on over
are.
the top here. Stevenson perhaps the 3.8. Yep, 4 watts per kilogram here. 181 beats per minute, but the roll through speed might be too much as they are getting a response. It looks like that's going to be one of the riders here on that Synergy team, I believe. Now coming over the top. There it is, Massey. 3.7, but that's just the pack speed, it looks like, all back together. A little bit of group off the back, though, here, Dave.
Yeah, actually decent size group off the back. Almost a second peloton forming, and that to the credit there for the Synergy team, they're keeping themselves very well positioned, not in any jeopardy sitting at the back of this group. These riders might chase back in, Nathan. It looks like they've got a good crack at it as the peloton's sitting up and fanning out across the road right now. So they're going to catch a little bit of a break, I'd say, back in that second group. They still got some work to do here, and that tells me that the speed is ramping up, no doubt about it. A lot of the names that we're seeing here, we've been seeing racing on Fridays in the Zwift Grand Prix as well, like the Slovenian Polona Itkin. She picked up a nice sprint. You kind of get used to that. The format that we have last week, really, really exciting, where you'd win a sprint and then be out of the race. I never thought that we'd be talking about Lizzie Brooke as a sprinter, Nathan, but it goes to show you how you need to bring a really solid toolbox, a lot of different tools to racing in esports. And Lizzie Brooke, a triathlete, actually a professional triathlete of much esteem, showing that she definitely's got a bit of a punch out there as well. That's going to be the hottest thing to come out of Scotland since microwave haggis. Natalie Stevenson up on the front. Couple Scottish flags that we'll see out here today, as we'll be looking for Coralie Arthur and some of the sprints coming up as well. So, Nathan, next sprint up, Railway. Oh, good. League points now after
quick
three.
look at league points here. 3 races in. 58 for Ionian Aces. They're the current leaders. Wahoo Lacole Grand Prix team are going to be trying to challenge that. Toyota Crowder T, Electric Spirit Co. Team Castelli, presented by Elite. The women's team there. It's going to be Synergy Heat. Wahoo Lacole, Etoiles de Vilo. Then Roca Corba Collective, Crush Pod, and SC Trude. That's going to be your top 10 currently in this series. So be on the watch out for those jerseys. Ionian looking to defend their top spot right now.
Yeah, there's a lot in play out here today, no question. As we'll see if the Wahoo Lacole team is going to be able to make a statement out on a day like today. It's a course that certainly seems to suit them, and they're such a tactically astute team as well, as the directors will be in overdrive out here today.
Taking a look here at Stevenson, though, on the attack. Crowder T looking to take another FAO. They took one already over the top with Harry Gilson, but will Stevenson be able to make this break here? Holdcroft coming across from Synergy. KRT Rockets getting involved as well with you, right? And Jerry Donnie now on the move as well. This is being chased pretty hard, Dave, but this is that section, of course, over and over again that we've seen these little breaks able to stay away. But here comes Lizzie Brooke. Lizzie Brooke here, and as well as the rest of the pack with an arrow power up. But will the speeds be high enough? They're coming at 53 kilometers per hour. Stevenson at 6.0 watts per kilogram. Over the top, it's going to be Holdcroft, though, 9 watts per kilogram. Holding on. Big speed here at 60 kilometers per hour. I think she's going to hold on to this here, but Brooke may be able to chase down Stevenson in just a moment.
Wow, and this is going to do damage back to the group. The ripple effect will definitely be felt. So this is really looking at it from, look at that now. So while Lacole's going to swarm past their teammate, Lizzie Brooke, they're going to take a lot of points here. Holdcroft, though, numero uno across line. Does Natalie Stevenson hold on there? It looks like she did, Nathan. Stevenson holding on. Incredible effort there.
Big effort by Stevenson for some FAL. I think Lindsay Cassie and the rest, though, may have taken good FAL and FTS points with that patience. It's always about these first and second sprints. You know, there's a lot of patience that comes in for how much is this going to pay off. You know, last week in the sprints on the Two Bridges course, I definitely was waiting and allowing some moves to go for FAL early, and then later on in the race started caring a little bit more about the FAL points because their value just goes up later in the race. And so I have a feeling right here, these points were about FAL, but also more focused on let's grab those big FTS points when we can through these sprints.
Yeah, that was the time to do it. I am 100% in agreement with what you're saying. Look what's happening at the back of the peloton right now, Nathan. Another group of riders in jeopardy here, as this has been the story of this course. There's nothing that's so noteworthy that stands out as the dangerous sector out here. It's just the relentless efforts being made on the front, and it's after these sprints happen. It's not even a counterattack per se. It's just that riders let the wheel go, and then that just starts to compound upon itself. It looks like this group will be able to chase back in, but you can only do this so many times. I mean, there's some talent back in that group. Riders like Lucy Collins are going to be able to hit the reset button as they rejoin, but Nathan, you really can't afford to do that too many times out here.
No, the attentiveness needs to be there for sure, and you have to definitely be within the draft. Sometimes the kick's just too much, though, to follow. Does come all back together. We've already got a pretty good breakup on lap number 1, though, Dave. Lap 1, and already things are splintering. Goes to show what kind of a race this is going to be. Predictions here because of what we've seen with that, Dave. Do you think perhaps this is going to be even more whittled down pack by the end, like maybe even a complete breakaway situation with just a few riders left battling for the win out here today? I could see that much
100%.
as a much higher probability within this women's race.
So 100% on the first part of that, definitely. So this is going to be much like the men's race that we saw earlier, where it will be whittled down. I don't think that group gets smaller than 20, to tell you the truth, because there's 20 world-class racers in this field, no doubt. So that's sort of the threshold that I'm looking at. Marina Arce there, the Argentinian rider, the Italian Chiara Doni. I mean, it is a murderer's row when you look at these riders are spread out across I mean, every team has world-class riders that they can look to out here. So it creates a really great dynamic. There's Rachel Brown riding up near the front. She's been on fire lately as well. So yeah, this is exactly what you're looking for as far as excitement in esports. Kimbo, one of the riders that just chased back, as is Lucy Harris here, to rejoin this group as they're just getting close to heading out on lap number 2.
Quick look at the points as they stand right now. Lindsay Cassie holding down 50 points with some FTS, a couple of FTS points actually there. It's going to be Lizzie Brooke there as well for WLC at 41. So as you said, Dave, WLC, they're on the move out here today. Aeonian, currently it looks like only with that 10th place that they currently have 25 points. There's so many points up for grabs out here though today, Dave. With so much FTS, so much FAL, these points tallies are going to get very high. This is only the top 10, Dave, that we're looking at right now. I wonder if we can. I mean, there's a lot more underneath this as well with how many points there are up for grabs. So this gives us an idea, though, how well Wahoo Lacole have performed. They've got 4 out of the top 10 right now for the points.
It's an interesting question, Nathan. I'm going to guess that this round so we're in the 22-23 season 2. I'm going to guess that this event has the most points available. Now, when it's all said and done, we'll translate that into the next table where the top team gets 20 points, second place team gets 19 points. But here right now, we're scoring. Each individual rider on the team collects points, and those teams go into the pool of points that the team has, and that's how we'll sort things out today. So you would be adding the points from Lindsay Cassie with Lizzie Brooks. They're all riding for Mandy here today, but you can see that Wahoo Lacole and Mandy being synonymous today as they ride for their fallen teammate. But Nathan, they have 4 of the top 9 points getters at this point. So it's looking extremely good for Wahoo Lacole. At this point, a lot can change on a monster points day out here.
So much can change. They still have 3 times 4 to go here. 12 opportunities plus the finish line, Dave. So yes, plenty of changes
dozen
to happen here. So the Baker's dozen of points. Here we go. Rounding out the start of the next lap is coming up here momentarily. They're just leaving that arcade section. This is where you will be able to see the finish. Well, we will not see the finish line, but this is where the finish line is going to be. We'll give you a estimation, I think, of about where it exists here at about a little over the 12K marker here around the left-hand side. And as you can see, a lot of the riders here using power-ups, most likely because they are about to collect a new one, and they do not have one that they want. So as they come through this section, of course, they are going to be collecting that next power-up. And now they will be heading toward the tower sprint. And as they do, there's going to be a lot of setting up, Dave, I think, for what is going to be another very difficult section for these riders grabbing points. You can see here the tower sprint, castle sprint, alley sprint, and then the railway sprint. We just saw them take on a lot of snaking around there over toward the finish/start area. That is a good idea of where these riders are in the McCurry Island Splinter Playground in the city of Neokyo. As how many do we have left here, Dave? You think maybe about 50 riders?
I was going to say it looks a lot smaller, doesn't it? And it's a tough day with such a strong field out here. It's interesting when you look at that course, Nathan. If you were to stand like in real life, if this existed, if you were to stand in the middle of the course, you'd never be further than say 2 kilometers away from any point on the race course. It's all very condensed. It's like a tempest in a teapot, as William Shakespeare might say. But yeah, no, good point to what you were saying, that this is definitely a war of attrition out here today. It really is the fact that these sprints come so quickly, as you were just highlighting there. You go from tower to castle. That's only about a 1 kilometer gap in between those sprints. And then just a couple more kilometers later, you're into that alley sprint. Then, a few K before railway. And then that leads you into that finish line where, again, this is going to be big points scored here. Now, let's see how this one sorts out.
Ooh, it looks like just over the line there. Jacquette riding here.
Very standard sprint.
And who is Jaquette riding for here? I'm gonna get a name on this because that was a really solid kick to the line. As this is going to be a rider. I'm actually, to be honest, I'm not extremely familiar here with the Zed Sun rider. Is there a Zed Sun team as well in here? The kit that she's wearing, I thought was maybe associated with the No Gods No Masters, and that team would be Crush Pod Norns. I believe that she is riding for.
There you
Actually.
go.
So nice little kick to the line. That's big points for them, Dave. That's not. She just went up against some of the best in the world, and a teammate for this Crush Pod team that's really showing up on the day here. Nice result for her.
Yeah, and it was a very standard sprint as well. We didn't have riders attacking off the front leading into it. So interesting moment there in the race as we're making our way into lap number 2.
A little bit of a kick off the front here. Is that going to be? I would not be surprised if that's Donnie off the front right now, making a move. No, excuse me, Maramati, Team Castelli now on the move. 2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, the Elisabetta Rico, Fabia Maramotti is the rider that we're with. It's not entirely Italians on this squad as well, talking about Castelli. They've got an Argentinian. A couple Argentinians racing here today. Roverbal, Morgan Cabot is the Canadian on the squad, and then Slovenian Martina Erjevec, who's been very strong out here today. But this is going to be interesting as Fabia Maramotti, ciao Bella, she's gone.
Yeah, this is a really good move, actually. And she might have done this. She's got 5.3 watts per kilogram. Good speed. Here comes Svardstrom, though. Oh, Dave. No, here come the Swedes. Not sure she's going to be able to hold on to this. Anna Svardstrom, Lindsay Cassie as well here on the attack. Will Marati be able to hold on? No, she's going to get some good FAL points, perhaps. But she is getting caught at the line. She'll have to take third across the line for that. Good FAL for that effort. But Lindsay Cassie riding forward. Mandy out there today. And a Svardstrom for a Z. Here comes Aonian. Bologna Itkin. This is a new star, Dave.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and Nathan, I'd have to say for Maramotti, even though she didn't take the top points, third is pretty good and made that effort all worth it. There's Katie Loker, Ms. 14 herself up to the front. Rachel Brown is there as well. This is interesting. You're right, though, Nathan. Polona Itkin has shown herself to be a real talent, races with heart, as this is going to be the Canadian Cabot on Team Castelli. So Castelli's been sending rider after rider up the road as she uses that aero power up right now. Let's watch. It looks like that's going to be Natalie Stevenson, who's on a tremendous day today, and the Scottish rider bearing the accelerator as she's got Lucy Collins right on her tail. So this is hotting up, Nathan. You can see how quickly these sprints come at you back to back here.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the aggression suddenly kicking off after this lap and a half or so into this race here. Stevenson with on the wheel here. It is going to be Bullock now, as well as Weissman here. Now, trying to make a move to come across the Belgian rider, but it's going to be shut down pretty quickly, those moves. But they do see, they sense the blood in the water. You can see it here, Dave, that it starts to split. Now, as soon as it kind of coalesces back together, though, here, they start thinking, okay, the speeds are going to snowball. We're going to catch those riders up ahead. It calms right on down, but that does sometimes open up a little bit more opportunity again. They're about to head into the alley sprint, though, and this is going to be a setup here, Dave. Stevenson unable to stay away, but here comes the counter coming from, it looks like KRT, but that's not going to be much of anything because here comes the rampage from the main pack. It's going to be Zardheed now on the attack here for Team Swedish Zwifters. Arrow power up here. Lizzie Brooke trying to come over the top for Team Mandy out here today, but it's going to be Lexi Snover from Electric Spirit Company sitting in the wheels, but Brooke's got a second kick, it looks like. Is Lizzie Brooke going to be able to hold on to this? Where did this power come from Brooke, but over the top? Will it be Yax? Brooke holds on,
Arthur.
I think. That was right to the line. Was it Coralie?
Coralie coming up strong. I don't know that she got it at the line. Boy, that is a who's who of sprinters out of the United Kingdom right there. I am amazed to see Lizzie Brooke putting that kind of power down, and it looks like a counterattack is coming in, and I have it. Well, we're going to go back and take a look at the sprint. This is Marlene Bjarhed, the Swedish rider who typically is able to close these deals out, but look behind her that's Lizzie Brooke there going wheel to wheel with Alexi Snover, and that's where I thought we'd be giving the top points to, but see the blonde hair there, and that is Coralie Arthur, the Scottish rider. That will go, boy. I mean, that's basically a
That's as
tie.
close as it gets. That's as
Yeah.
close
Wow.
as it gets between these three here. I mean, but yeah, as you saw, Brooke and Snover, that was the real battle there. Coralie battling with Yaks right to the line. Jarheed fading. So that was the situation. Some of the best sprinting and some of the best racing we have ever seen by far. Loving the show that these women are putting on right now.
Yeah, I agree, Nathan. Absolutely incredible. Electric spirit. Now, that's Alexi Snover. It's just, I mean, Nathan, you can go from rider to rider on this start list and talk about the star power that we're looking at. I mean, it seems like every team has at least one, if not more than that, as we see Badovskaya now making her move to the front. This group, though, it's about halved itself, I would say. Is every time we go into a sprint, Nathan, it seems like up till now, we've seen 4, 5, 6 riders having to wave bye-bye to the peloton. It's just relentless out here. That's a good look at the entire group together. Nathan was asking earlier, and I was estimating that I was thinking around 20 riders might be contesting in the group for that final sprint here, the way these ladies race so aggressively. So much fun to watch. The Splinters playground.
The Splinters playground. I absolutely love, and that's. I mean, it really is the Splinters playground out here today just now. And here, Tower Sprint here, Castle Sprint, Railway Sprint. Railway Sprint is going to be what we're looking at next for their second lap, Dave. And the reason I keep on showing this is because it is a very tight within, as you said, nothing's really that far away from each other. But because of that, you're in this downtown city trying to figure out where people are at and where the group might be at. You need to kind of get an idea of what these sprints are in succession of each other, get familiar with each one of them to really know where the riders are at out on course, get an idea of what they're going to be contesting for and why they might be doing what they're doing at this moment. They're about to head into that railway sprint again, Dave. And as we've seen over and over again, these kicks over the top of that bump, right between that 6 and 8 kilometer marker, have been able to stay away if it's a big enough kick. And here we go again, Dave, right on into that same section. We'll see if it works out this time.
Exactly, Nathan. More often than not, it has worked out. I think one of the things about this course is, how you have markers that you look for, things outside of going into the arcade, which is a clear indicator. It's a hard course to figure out where you are. You're doing so much twisting and turning out here. And those indicators that you normally look to say, oh, that means that the sprint's going to be about 1K away, much more challenging out here, at least for me. I don't know if other people feel that way, but this is a tough one.
It is. It definitely is. And the timing, I think, makes the timing difficult
Hard.
as well. Makes it very difficult to know when
Great
to go
point.
exactly where. And so having familiarity and knowing this, it kind of does give some of the riders that have more experience on this course specifically, especially some of the Grand Prix riders that have been racing this recently or racers that have seen this in previous ZRLs, it gives you a huge advantage to know how a sprint like this one we're looking at right now, this railway sprint, how it plays out, how a lot of times we see this speed that's gained through this section keep a rider away in the pack, not always able to bring things back. We might be seeing that happen again as the aero power-ups, the drafting power-ups all start to get used.
Cryo really throwing a lot at it out here. This has always been one of our favorite teams in Cryo RDT with 2 riders in this group. The third rider there is going to be Marina Arce, the Argentinian, but the surge is coming, and it's going to be Wahoo Lacole riding from Andy, and they are hitting out with authority here now, Nathan, as we're going to bring this one home. More points on offer here. Lindsay Cassie doing what Lindsay Cassie does, but look at that. Wow.
What? Man, I didn't get the right camera angle quite there just now, Dave. We'll see if I can get an idea of how that played out now. But look at the back of this
gets
pack.
Up there again.
Yeah, that was, again, extremely close. Once again.
These finishes are awesome. I mean, this is just great racing out here, Nathan. So this is kind of, I'll throw it back to you, but Cryo looked large and in charge, but all of a sudden Wahoo Lacole makes their move, and then it just goes bananas.
Lindsay Cassie trying to hold on right to the line. Her teammate, actually, Lizzie Brooke, coming through, it looks like, trying to challenge. And Brooke, as well as the Cookie Monster herself, might have been there.
Monalee
Keller.
Keller, right. Whew, man.
And I actually haven't
Monolith just
seen Keller involved in too many sprints just as of yet up toward the front. She may have gotten some points already so far, but Keller, I think, maybe saving something for later, playing it smarter, waiting for the attrition to start play a role to grab some points later on.
wouldn't surprise me. Monolith just wrapped up a cyclocross season in Seattle, Washington. She lives up in the Pacific Northwest. So I'd imagine she's pretty darn good for 40, 45 minutes. That's going to be the sweet spot at this point for Monolith Keller.
Lizzie Brooke dominating. Lindsay Cassie there as well. Big points for Wahoo Lacole. Going to be Erzavik for the Castelli team. Lexi
Castelli's.
Snover.
We got to get used to that gray jersey for Castelli, huh?
Well, they're making it. They're pushing the issue.
It's pretty easy.
They're pushing the issue, but pushing the watts. That's the situation right now, as it looks like Wahoo Lacole still on the domination. My question is, where is Aeonian, Dave? What is going
Well,
on?
that's surprising, to tell you the truth. Maybe, as you just noted, one of the riders, the Cookie Monster there, Monolith Keller, and it looked like Pitkin got up there for some points to me in the last one as well.
Maybe just outside of 25 points, perhaps. That's why we'll have to wait and see.
Right.
Because
So,
it is 25. That's the cutoff for top 10.
and they might have a bunch of riders sitting there grouped right under that, is my thought. But you're right. I mean, not ideal situation. So they're most likely fourth or fifth team so far on points. Things can change, but we're running out of real estate here. There's 13 total. Well, I was going to say 13 points opportunities, but that's not even true, Nathan, because that's just first across the line points opportunities. We also have our fastest through segment points out here. This is a points rich day. No, I would say I'd be surprised if there's another event we do that has this many total points on offer.
Yeah, same as well. I wonder if there is something similar that would have this many
Only
points.
Martin would know. Well, or someone who does research, but rather than just shooting from the hip.
That's
Right.
great, Dave. That's so
I
great.
was going to say only Martin would know, but it's like, no, other people could know if they wanted to figure that out for sure. So that's
And if you want to show up for those who do research, show up to the wrap every Thursday. Anna Russell will let us know.
There you go.
Anna Russell will let us know everything that's
Speaking
going
of someone
on.
who does her research, Anna Russell, all-time legend.
Next up, section, Dave. We're heading back into the arcade where the games will be played out on course, Dave. I don't think they're going to be stopping to put quarters in. They're going to be putting quarters into the legs to try and bring the splinters out, Dave. I hope they've got the insurance for the legs at this point because there's so many splinters. I'm not sure they're going to be moving. And the arcade here, though, Dave, we've seen the splits happen. That is the section because it's difficult to draft. And over again, we've seen riders able to try and get away. And it is the longest distance between the next sprint point as well. So that you've got this big gap between the railway sprint and the sprint point that comes up at Towle. And then you have the lap section. And in between there, you have this arcade coming up, as you can see in the distance. And if somebody wanted to make some moves, that would be this is the place because the speed of the pack is not necessarily going to ramp up through those sections. You may be able to trust the breakaway to get away, but you've got to get a lot of time during that section to not be caught by a charging pack for those FAL points and FTS points.
Might not be a bad time if you had the Ghost and the ambition to use that Ghost as well out here. We're talking about the power-ups, Draft, Arrow, and Ghost out here today. Let's see if anybody wants to take that cue as we make our way. I don't know if you're old enough to remember when they used tokens in arcades, Nathan. That might be a little before your time.
I think it depends on where you go still. They may still use tokens depending on what arcade you go to because it's essentially a way that they make sure you give them money and you always have to use those tokens.
Create your own currency?
Yeah. They just make their own currency. So we'll trade to us. And then you can only use this here. So here, we get extra money out of you no matter what. And I'm pretty sure most resorts still use tokens for their arcades now, I think. I'm not positive.
Sneaky
Last time I went to it. It's such a big, I always,
Well, it didn't matter how many tokens you had in your pocket. You weren't going to get a free ride out there. Nobody, everything still together through the arcade. They'll get one more trip through there.
I wonder if Zwift has tokens in their arcade. I want to know that. Are they using tokens?
No, Zwift is on the up and up. They're a quality company. They wouldn't use fly-by-night tokens. So, all right.
They use drops. They use drops,
They use
Dave.
drops. Right, exactly. Exactly. You're a millionaire. Um, so Eleanor Weissman here off the front, another quality rider. But this is going to show you the Peloton is right now not fully activated.
Yeah, and
Chilling
we
out a
see
little bit.
Holdcroft going to the front and Stevenson as well. They are sending riders to the front, though, to make sure this doesn't go anywhere. Stevenson ramping things up.
Yeah,
Holdcroft
here
as
we
well,
go.
heading into the
Yep.
tower sprint. And this is a very Hail Mary long go here coming from Weissman, trying to trust that
Agreed.
she can keep things away. But who is she setting up? Who's Weissman riding for right now, Dave, is going to be my question, because she is setting up teammates, I would think, to try and make something happen there.
Well, originally I thought she was trying to sneak away. Now I'm 100% signing off on what you're saying. It looked like that was absolutely a team tactic. There's
I have her
so
listed
many.
as Cyrus No Pins, though, so I'm not sure who she's even
That
riding
doesn't make
for out
s
here.
Does that make sense?
No,
Yeah, so
not at
yeah,
all.
so we'll figure that out, right. Well, it's gonna come back together, and it's going to be another Wahoo Lacole rider, Lindsay Cassie. I would say of the last year, this is the biggest star that we've seen
Dave,
break through.
this woman just goes for it. That's the thing. She don't
She's
care.
talented,
Cassie
ambitious.
don't care. Cassie don't
Honey
care. That
badger.
is the thing with Lindsay Cassie. I mean, from now on, I'm just gonna say Cassie don't care. Like
honey
CDC
badger.
off the front, going for it, and this is it, and she makes it happen. Just walks away with this one. I absolutely love all star here. Brown now across takes second points. A lot of sprint points coming out
Downtown
through
Rachel
there,
Brown.
but both
I got it.
from Wahoo Lacole.
Yeah, Nathan, I got to say, well, one, this team is just awesome. The depth that they've got, the spirit on that squad, riding for Mandy today, and it's really cool to watch. I think, I mean, especially going back to that Grand Prix, Lindsay Cassie is willing to throw down with anybody, as you just said very astutely. She don't care, and man, does that make for fun racing to watch. She's become one of my favorites for sure. This is Lucy Harris that we're in with now, another one of the stars on the Toyota Cryo team. Let's see what she's got cooking here.
Yeah, the pack behind is still getting some roll through speed from that sprint, so there is a little bit of over the top coming through because they're only doing 2.6 at the front, but obviously the speed's still pretty high on this negative gradient. But now Harris might be able to
Now
start
it
getting a little bit
stops.
of a gap. Yep, at 0%
Yep.
gradient now, and now she's at 6.5. Donnie's on the front at 3.6 here. They're very quickly going to be heading into the next sprint. This is for FAL. I don't think this is going to stay away long term because we got a sprint coming up here really quickly for the castle sprint. But Chambers now from Synergy ramping up. We'll see if Harris can keep this away.
Again, helping her teammates out. That's for sure, even if she doesn't stay away here. And every now and then you end up still in the top 10 if they do make that catch at the line. So credit to Harris here. She's certainly stirring the pot. Gap has gone to 3 seconds now, so they're going to have to really bury themselves to bring her back, which we anticipate they will. But at this point now, she's going to score points in my mind. I don't know if she'll get the top points, but this is a really solid effort. It's gone out to 4 seconds here now. So Harris putting on a clinic in how you do this. They might have misjudged her, Nathan.
I think they did. She's got plenty of space to work with here now. Here comes Harmsen coming out of South Africa. Nice little kick from her from the Roca Corba team, putting them on the map here. But Harris is going to hold on. She's not going to be caught at the line. And will she form some sort of a breakaway group? I doubt it. I have a feeling she's going to back off here at this point. Yeah, 3.2. Lexi Snover comes on through for a solid 12 watts per kilogram coming on just ahead of Lizzie Brooke there. Brooke right behind
Can you believe
Snover.
this Lizzie Brooke? She has really reinvented herself as an esports racer. I mean, this is not your run-of-the-mill triathlete just dabbling with esports. She's really showing some Zwift craft and heart out here. Good work, Lizzie Brooke.
Look at the tail. A little bit of another situation where riders are in trouble. I do see a Wahoo Lacole jersey off the back here. Interesting enough for a second there. And this is going to be one of our riders that scored big points earlier. That's going to be Shakit that we were talking about. Going to be fading off the back. Grabbed some good points, though, for her team. Taking down one of the sprints earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to give her credit for that, Nathan. You know, she realized that in the back half of this race, she might not be there with the pop, so she She made hay while it was in the field. That's a job well done.
100%. Great job for the Crush Pod team and their teammate. Now there are 41 riders, I believe, left in this pack, or is it 40? It's fighting for 40th position, so exactly 40 left. Oh, 41. Excuse me. We just saw 41 pop in there. Harmsen and one of the other riders. They're fighting for the back spot of this pack. Alley sprint coming up, and this is the third sprint on this final lap of 3. There will be one more through the railway, and then the finish line coming up shortly here. Here comes Collins. Lucy Collins making a little bit of a move through. There's some invisibility pop-ups as they head into the alley. This is going to be the penultimate sprint here. Invisibility's off the front, Dave. Will they stick?
Well, that's how you do it. They get that little gap. It's 2 teammates as well. And again, she is back and in full effect as it's going to be Lizzie Brooke and Lindsay Cassie. The dynamic duo activate super twin powers here, Nathan. This is quite impressive from Team Mandy out here, putting on a clinic in courage as these two are going. Are they gone? We're coming up on 30 kilometers into a 37 kilometers. They've done it. That is, wow. Nathan, this is for Mandy. This is one heck of a command performance that we're witnessing for Wahoo Cole, a.k.a. Team Mandy here today.
Where is Aeonian? Where is the current series leaders out here today, Dave? Are they conceding out here a massive amount of points? Going to be a tough one to come back from. Maybe going to put all their chips on the table for the final. But Team Aeonian on the back foot as the domination coming on through for Wahoo Cole. Now we're going to be coming into the railway sprint. Going to be the last one for some segment points. And then the finish line is what's next out on course here today as things line up. A little bit of a bump and now into a downhill section. Let's take a look at the back of the pack. Is there anybody falling off? No, it's all back together still with 41 riders.
Boy, this team is just hyper motivated out here today, and it shows you that racing, there's an element of heart that always comes into play, and I think we're really seeing that. You know, these other teams are strong, and they're battling. There's no doubt about it, but today it just feels like the magic is with the Wahoo Cole ladies, no question. So this is where we're at in the season. This is the after 3, the scoreboard you're looking at is scoring 3 of 6 races. The 4th is underway, and we're watching that right now. The Aeonian Aces came in as the top team with a 1-point advantage on Wahoo Cole. This could quite possibly be tied after this race. 20 points for the top team today, 19 for second, 18 for third, and on down that line linear. Toyota Cryo RDT, they're in the fight as well, sitting in third. These are where the points are right now, Nathan. I'll throw it back to you, but it looks like Wahoo Cole with 3 of the top 4 are in commanding position here.
Things updating a little bit here as we do see Wahoo Cole following, no longer having 4 of the top 10, but still 3 of the top 10 with Corley, Arthur, Brooke, as well as Cassie there. So still a dominating performance so far. Aeonian sneaking up a little bit there with Arce and it does look like Polona Itkin. I do believe that we are going to see a couple of more as we do get some more updates coming on through here. We'll see if later in this race, Aeonian were able to grab any more points to challenge it all. But I have a feeling that you might be right there, Dave. Tied or maybe WLC taking the lead depending on where Aeonian end up, because I'm not sure they're getting second today.
Yeah, if they do get second, they'd be tied. You're right, though, Nathan. Wahoo Cole would be interested to see if any other teams want to come in and overtake them and take another point away. And it's really straightforward when you look at the scoring system here. Movistar, another team that certainly has potential to make some big moves here in the final part, really the last half lap of this race as we're down to brass tacks now. She's been awesome today. Fabia Matamotti is back on it. She picked up some solid points earlier, and obviously a rider that you have to contend with as they hit the steepest pitch that we see out on lap number 3.
Look at the gap here now, 4 seconds, Dave. Big push here from Maramote as it's going to be Shanks. Now here comes Harris. Harris now on the attack there. 8 watts per kilogram here from Harris, not trying to let her go as now the kick. The 1 second gap. Let's see if we can get an idea of what that gap is looking like. There it is. Stevenson now coming through for Toyota Cryo DT, chasing her teammate, interesting enough here, ramping things up. And Holdcroft now coming on through to the front. Marmote here, is she going to be able to hold on to this? No, it's going to be Harris here jumping onto the wheel. Will they work together and hold off this chasing pack, though, Dave? They are on the hunt because these FAL points, they are the last of the race out here today.
And Toyota Cryo, I mean, they're in the mix in the season and on the day. And this is a big one from Lucy Harris here. So let's see if she's, now we're really talking about FAL first across the line points, which scored 10 deep from 10 down to 1 point. I think Harris has got 10 written all over her now as we're going to be looking to see if she will collect those points. But back behind, it's turning into a real scrum now, Nathan. Let's watch closely here.
Yep,
I think Harris gets the 10.
I think she's got it. Lindsay Cassie coming on through with the lead out, though, perhaps for the rest of the riders here. Down to 3 seconds here. Here comes Cassie, but Harris takes it down. Lindsay Cassie does it again, Dave. Yep, right to the line. Holcroft comes through. There's Arce, though. Nice kick there from the Ionian, keeping them in conversation, but look at all the creamsicles around her. There's Electric Spirit Co. in the orange and white. Lots of them. Taking down some good FAL points as well. Electric Spirit was got, who was all there? It was going to be Kent. It's got to be Lexi Snover as well as, was Katie Loker there? Is Loker involved? Yes, Loker was there as well.
Yeah, and that's a team. Don't sleep on. I mean, there's going to be an era for Electric Spirit Co. where this team will have some amazing runs. They've got a lot of talent on that squad. That's the orange and white team that we're looking at with Alexi Snover and company. But it's not just Alexi on that team, and that's noteworthy. You can see we talked about the power-ups today: Draft, Arrow, and Ghost. There's the Ghost being deployed on the front. We're getting deep into this one now, Nathan. We've got Railway and the finish to look forward to here.
And now I'm loving what this team Castelli is up to here. Absolutely love it. They have been non-stop on the attack. And again, the go here. Here comes over the top. Then Stevenson follows. Donnie is there as well. Shanks from Synergy. They want to make a move here, Dave. They want to try and break away for the finish line. Still 3K to go. And this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about a launch pad and look what's happening on the front now, it's every woman for herself out here. I see that Lindsay Cassie is charging. I'd certainly be trying to hold on to that wheel. Natalie Stevenson up in the mix. This could be that 10-rider split we were talking about, maybe a little more than 10, Nathan. No, they're going to close that gap down. Everything is in play out here now.
Langham came over the top with some speed there. Now it just shuts right on down. And so how many riders do we have left? Did anybody fall off from that last one? It does look like we have a little bit of a split here as we are down to 36 riders, I believe it is. 36 riders left in this pack still battling it out as we've got Lindsay Cassie and the whole WLC team on the watch out. Aeonian looking for massive points here, because they have really missed out on the points out here today. Roca Corba with a lot of representation, Dave. But can anyone take on this WLC team? They have been just unstoppable in the sprints, and really to try and put just a stamp of look, pride, and we're still a dominating team here. I think that we're looking for Electric Spirit Co., Toyota Priority T. We're looking for Aeonian. Watch out for those 3 teams. Some dark horse teams as well, obviously. Team, I'd be watching out for Castelli, Roca Corba. That would be huge, as well as KRT if they were able to grab something out here today. So still so much representation from so many teams. Synergy as well. The right setup, Dave, especially with this sprint coming through the arcade. It's a tough one tactically here, Dave. There is just bring the muscle to it, and if you do, you can win it. But if somebody plays this right, they could get a little bit of an upset. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, I completely agree. Nathan, while we've got everyone together, I wanted to mention coming up on Thursday, WTRL's World Bicycle Relief Fundraiser is going on. Love to see you get involved with that. They do such a tremendous job. So let's get behind WTRL and on Thursday, see if we can get over $75,000 raised for World Bicycle Relief. A lot of these riders will be out there on Thursday, and we appreciate everybody and their support. It's going to be a great one.
100%. We'll give you some more information about that at the end of the broadcast. Well, stick around. We'll talk about that for a little, just a moment.
So cool.
It is really cool. It's amazing what they do with WBR. every single year with World Bicycle Relief. They've raised huge amounts of money for that amazing charity. Great time
We
of year
might have
for
a
giving.
straight up. Sorry, Nathan. We might have a straight up sprint here, more or less. The second one we've seen since the first sprint to the last sprint, it has been bedlam out here. We're going to go into the arcade. Our first attack
Stevenson.
goes. No,
There
there
it
she
is,
goes.
Dave. Yeah, and this is it here, Dave. This is going to be the drag race start, and I thought that this is what might be what happens here, Dave, because of the reality of the arcade and how aggressive these women have been. Coralie Arthur now coming on through 8, 9, 10 watts per kilogram for just a moment there. So Coralie Arthur going to be the lead out woman for the rest of the WLC team, or see if she can just break them all. 7 watts per kilogram. The consistency here coming from Arthur now. Marabadi now trying to hold on, and this is going to be it leaving from this moment. The second they leave here, it's about, I believe, 700 meters to the line, Dave. Baraskalva now at the front. She's just going to be lead out as it's going to be on the wheel of Coralie Arthur. Arce's there. They're waiting again, Dave. Now here's the final kit. Lizzie Cassie coming on through. 8 watts per kilogram, 10 watts per kilogram from Lindsay Cassie. Lindsay Cassie now pulling through, but Loker's got 12. Katie Loker's got it here, Dave. Arce versus Loker, but Loker is, I believe, going to be the one to beat to the line. Ooh, I think it was Katie
you're
Loker.
right.
I think it was
No,
Katie
you're
Loker.
right. I'm with you, Nathan. Cassie with the late surge. Boy, Katie Loker with clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. Great call, Nathan Guerra. That was awesome. So fun today. I was pulling for Coralie, I got to be honest. I know she was riding with Mandy in her heart. And, man, we saw, speaking of heart, that's what we saw from all these women out here today. Tremendous job.
See if we can get a better view real quickly of not just bushes. How about not
I feel
just
like a
bushes?
caterpillar.
Real quickly here, let's take a look at how this played out. As Coralie was the lead out here, I thought maybe she'd be able to hold on to something as they came on through, but that did set up the rest of the team. You do see Lindsay Cassie sitting at 6.4 watts per kilogram behind in the pack in about 10th position. Lindsay Cassie kicks. Watch the watts per kilogram here. The cameras jump around a little bit on us trying to find the right riders here. Loker, though, right there. There it is, coming around that corner. I mean, perfect timing from Loker. I just want to really highlight
Getting close to that
timing.
14 watts, per kilo. She really hit it.
Coming
that
around the
moment.
corner, perfectly timed. Loker kicks 13 watts per kilogram from
Right
about
there.
10th position or so. Does she have an arrow power up too? With an arrow power up. And comes right on through. Cassie trying to match it. Unable to do so, it looks like. But she really grabbed onto the wheel well, actually, though. Really
Yeah,
grabbed
more
that
or
wheel.
less she did. I mean, you got to give Lindsay Cassie credit for making that insanely close.
Look at that inside line, too. Isn't that crazy how that works in Zwift? Even in Zwift, Lindsay Cassie
That's
in
so
the wheel,
odd.
and in the wheel grabs the inside line then.
And the finish line is more or less the back of the crosswalk there.
I'm going to
maybe
double
that
check the
first
results,
light
actually,
pole.
Dave, because that inside
But
line, I mean, we might have had,
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see here. That's
we'll
pretty
see.
close.
Hang on, folks. It's not completely a sure thing out there. That gives me a chance, Nathan, I wanted to make sure that we highlighted World Bicycle Relief. Over the last few years, Martin, Carew, and the team at WTRL has really gone to bat for World Bicycle Relief. Their goal, I believe, was set at $75,000, and we could really use your support out there. You can see that the Giant Group and Perk Coffee and Movistar Team and Guerra, the cycling clothing manufacturer, all helping support exactly what you see there, getting individuals on bikes that can change lives, change communities. Those bicycles have an impact beyond when you hear the stories. That's when you really understand what we're talking about here. Those bicycles aren't just ridden by one person to school. Multiple people in those families will be using those bikes, whether it's dad or mom using it for work or healthcare needs. Brothers and sisters sharing bikes. It's been incredible to see the impact it's had for young women. Maybe most importantly, young women have seen what the power of the bicycle can do. And a huge thank you to everybody through the years for your support. But it remains paramount that World Bicycle Relief receives the funds to get the bikes to people, where it can change not just one life, not just dozens of lives, thousands of lives, and hundreds of communities. So it's WTRL doing what they do this Thursday, December 1st. I hope you're involved.
Absolutely, 100%. Make sure to get involved, register a team, and jump on to the World Bicycle Relief Team time trial that will be this Thursday. Let's take a look at the results, Dave, for today for the Zwift Racing League. Katie Loker, she says she was holding on to one power up the entirety of the night just for that result.
Well
and
done,
it's an
Katie
amazing, and
Loker.
that's big points though, Dave, right? Like that's huge
Biggest.
points. So
Yep, biggest points.
big.
Yep,
Now
so
look at
great
this.
job.
Look at Lindsay Cassie. Cassie don't care. Comes on through second place there. Lizzie Brooke right on her heels. Those two have been the dynamic duo today though for WLC. Amazing job. Toyota Cardi team with Tammy Miller. Then it's going to be Maria Holdcroft for Synergy Heat. Nice result for Synergy Heat there, followed up by Lauren Langham for Wahoo Lacole Etoles de Velo. It's going to be Marina Arce for Aeonian Aces. It's going to be Marlene Jarheed for SZ Thrud. Heather Shanks for Synergy Heat. And then Alexi Snover for Electric Spirit Co-Chanceliers.
So we've either got a new leader or a tie at the top for the fourth race of six for this 2022-23 season.
That's a really good question, Dave. And I'm going to do something here real quick. And let's see. This is how we came in. And it is currently a tie. Currently a tie.
No, that won't change. We might see changes below that, but
yeah, I think
those
you're right.
points will.
I think you're right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, now the battles underneath that though, Electric Spirit Co versus Team Castelli really is a thing for that fourth and fifth place. And then we are seeing Toyota Car ADT just really trying to hold on to their third, not letting anybody sneak up at all on them.
Well, we're not done, folks. It's going to be incredible for two more races this season. The top riders on the planet here racing with the ZRL and WTRL. Nathan, I know you've got the wrap to look forward to on Thursday. We talked about WTRL's World Bicycle Relief fundraiser, and the Grand Prix is back on Friday as well. So, yeah, you don't really get much time off, do you?
Well,
not much.
No, I don't know what that is. I don't even know what is that term. what does that even mean? I don't have a reference point for that. But yeah, we are going to be live for the wrap on Thursday. We'll be talking about all things ZRL and plenty of others. So make sure to tune in for that. If you want to get ready for your team time trial as well for the ZRL, actually went live at 2 p.m. over on my personal YouTube. You can go check that out as well. Just wanted to give a shout out to that. Put a little bit of work into last season. We had a team time trial on the which course was it? It was, I believe, Castle to Castle,
Puget?
something along those lines. It was in McCurry Islands. It was in McCurry Islands. It was
Okay.
It was on the McCurry Islands. I believe it was, man, we did do this the castle climb. So I forget the exact course that it was, but whatever the team time trial was in round one, it was in McCurry Islands, and I did the full voiceover actually last night and put it out. And I know the team time trial is coming up again for this this round. If you want to look at how we won the America's West, it was actually, I went through it while doing the voiceover, really was like, okay, this really goes and shows a lot of like good things happening, but also mistakes and where you can make mistakes, how you can recover from mistakes, and as well as like how you might be able to play some tactics based on what your abilities are throughout a team time trial. So make sure to go check that out as well. We will see you also Grand Prix racing this Friday, Dave. New formats always coming at you. So me and Dave will be on that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do all those cool things on whatever platform you like watching Zwift Community Live. That is on Twitch, Twitter, as well as YouTube and Facebook. We'll see you out on Zwift for some more riding and racing for myself and Dave Towle as always. Ride on.